It always comes to this. More nice shit. Hello there, guys. Back again to do another tattoo progress update. Where I last left off, I had showed off my ears, fully healed. At the time when I showed them off, I didn't quite have my regular configuration of jewelry in yet. I was using some custom-made plugs that I used to wear in my, or tunnels rather, that I used to wear in my conches as I was stretching them up. And now I've got my standard silicone ones in. These are much more comfortable with how many piercings I have. I take these out and clean them every day. So part of the problem with silicone is they can get pretty cheesy. They don't breathe very well. But as long as you clean them every day, there's really no issue with that. So I do find them much more comfortable, especially when I have so many different piercings to fill. That way they just work together a little better. I find if you have too many kind of hard, inflexible piercings right next to one another, they get pretty clunky. So I do have a few that are still that Delrin or glass, but for the most part, like in here, this is that material here, and same as this one. But for like lobes and stuff like that, I prefer to run silicone for those once my piercings are healed, which they always are now because I don't do anything with piercings anymore, which is a little odd for me. Anyway, I'm not going to rant and rave too much about that. I also had showed off the sleeve work that Rick and I had done. This is about ready to start peeling. This has actually been a bit of a slow one. It's been looking like it's going to peel here today for basically the entire day, but it hasn't started yet. So I figure by the end of the evening / tomorrow morning, that'll be going pretty good. But with that said, it's been a super easy heal as always. And I expect good results with this, being that it was the second pass. I had another session since, obviously. I've been talking about this one for a while. I've been keeping it secret. You can see a little bit of it here. People by now are probably been wondering what I've got cooked up, and the answer is, it's either more or less than what you would imagine it was. I didn't want to reveal what I was planning to do with my sleeve because, much like our friend Black Alien Project and his leg removal that will very likely never happen given his recent announcement that he's done doing all forms of body modification as soon as he finishes his tattoo work, which I'm not sure I believe. But anyway, I don't like people constantly asking me when I'm going to do something. Once I put something out there, then I find people like to pester and like they expect you to do it far sooner or whatever the case. So these days especially, I like to keep my advancements and my ideas to myself until I get there. It's enough to just say I'm planning to do something, but I'm not going to tell you what. We decided to do spider webs on all the red on my arm. So in the negative of the red on my arm and behind and somewhat in front of the thorns and some of the rose. And even Rick's chest piece a little bit got incorporated into it, but not super crazy. We did the spider webs. This was something I was thinking about for a long time, pretty well ever since the red has settled in. Not the first pass, or not the third pass either. Even as far back as the first and second passes, I was already thinking about what I would overlay on the red. It was never going to be just red. Or at least it was in its inception, but basically as soon as I had this red in, it was like my mind was working on what am I going to do with the red. There were some relatively big gaps. We couldn't really anticipate where they would be, but I knew that in those gaps there would be more. and there will probably be even more brought down here now. You know, it was a lot to draw on, but it wasn't much tattoo work. This took around half an hour to an hour to draw on and get everything situated the way that we wanted it. But the actual tattoo time was almost nothing. So it was like 2 hours of tattoo time for all of the lines everywhere. And the next time we work on this project, as we're not done yet, we're going to bridge that spider web through here, all the way over to here. And we're planning on doing a giant web with a spider's face or eyes, depending on what we can fit in there. We do have quite a bit of space there to work on. A lot of people were wondering why I didn't do thorns over here. That was done intentionally like that. I always planned to do another piece in there, and the idea was always to have it be more or less consistent and everything being more kind of brought into the whole theme of this suit. So now the rose sleeve has a contextual continuation with the chest monster and the cosmic horror, because being that I have these spider eyes on my chest, you know, now it brings everything in, because now this is tonally consistent with what's happening on my arm. That's the idea anyway. Right away, I already know that some people are going to hate this idea. Some people are going to be loving this idea. I had, you know, mostly positive comments on my TikTok when I posted this. TikTok I always post on first. It's my biggest platform, and honestly, I have the least resistance with it. Like, in terms of content, it's not as hungry as the other platforms, and it's very easy to satisfy. YouTube, it's like YouTube has a very aggressive content flow where you kind of have to keep schedules and things have to be going up at the right times and things like this, whereas TikTok, I more or less just shit post things as soon as I have them. My Instagram is even farther behind than my YouTube, because that's another really hungry platform for content. For example, my ear tattoos went up recently on my YouTube on my React series before the vlog came out, and it threw a lot of people, but that will happen fairly often with my stuff because I'm generally always ahead of the curve on my YouTube. This video is being made about a month and a half before it will air, for example. So by the time this is done, most people will be just hearing about my plans to do something with this arm. I think that in time, this will hold a lot better than just the flat red. I think that before Terry goes, I'm going to do one more section on the red, but we're going to do it with small mag groupings between the web. That was also something that we talked about. We might do that in 2 sections. I'm not exactly sure yet, but we'll be using smaller mag groupings, but smaller mag groupings pack color denser anyway. And we may as well while he's still here. I've mentioned before, but Terry's planning on moving away here in a few months, so we may do another session or 2 on this sleeve yet. This was the 14th time we've worked on this sleeve, but I considered the sleeve basically finished at 10. All the other sleeve sessions since have just been either conditioning or making it better, you know, adding things, whatever the case. So this, I do still consider it finished. It's just we can make modifications to a finished product, right? Similarly, I consider the chest piece mostly finished, but when Rick and I finally get this sleeve done, I do plan on doing a few sessions on the chest piece just to polish it up, enhance some things, you know. Not because it's fading back, because in reality it's staying the same as it was. Everything about it is as we left it. It's just that that being the case, we can go into it again and make things about it better. With that said, I am now taking 2 weeks. I think it'll be about 2 weeks before Terry tattoos me again. And the next session we have, I believe, is going to be on the center here again, the eye. And we're going to do another pass on the color. And we'll pass all these highlights again. And while we're there, we're going to do a fairly big session that day. We're going to come in and we're going to do light blue and light pink highlights on all of the color in here. So all the color, like all the blue and purple that we did, that's going to get passed with light pink and light blue highlights, just to kind of give some more definition and contrast. They're going to be used sparingly. I have the picture in my mind already, but it's going to make everything even more contrasted, and it'll be well worth it. And this being done twice now over that fresh black, it is still there, but it's not where I want it to be. So I think 1 or 2 more passes will be perfect, and I am committed to doing that as many times as I need to. Another session I have planned with Terry is we're going to get into these eyes. So I've been thinking about doing a silver opaque. I've talked about doing a gray wash on the teeth as well. These were done in a yellow, really dark yellow originally, and they've been passed over again and again with different whites and opaques, and that yellow tone just does not want to come out. It's just in there to stay, it seems like. So I'm thinking that I might try a very, very silver opaque and then just reline and re-black some of them. But the teeth have been bugging me for a long time, so they're coming up right away as well. And yeah, I've got a few more ideas further down the road with Terry, but that's all I'm going to reveal for now. That's a lot. So I do have a session coming up with Rick. We're going to do 2 sessions over the Christmas break, but this is my last session that I'm having before the Christmas break at the shop. So when I'm talking to you guys again next, it will be after the Christmas break. I'm a big Christmas guy. There's a lot of gifts under my tree, and I go pretty nuts for Christmas. So I'm looking forward to Christmas this year, and it's the only time of the year that the shop closes, and so we close for a couple weeks, and I don't have to be here. Some of the artists will be in tattooing friends and family, etc., but I will be here only when I want to be for those times. So I'm sure I'll still find a way into the shop here and there, but it'll be nice to have, a week and a half off where I don't have to do anything. I don't have that like ever. I get that now that I've taken on as the shop manager here. It's very hard for me to get time off because I have to be here during any of the appointments that are happening. So it is what it is. It's a nice lifestyle, but it's demanding in a way. It's not nearly as busy as my old job was, but you have to be a lot more present for it overall. Anyway, I don't expect everyone to be a fan of this, as I said. I think it is quite busy. Initially, I've only had 1 negative comment so far out of all of the. I've had hundreds of positive comments. But I think that the busy is actually not a bad thing. I think it was a little too flat. Same as my shoulder, I think, with how detailed everything is. Just a little bit in there to break that red up will be a nice thing. I don't think we're going to bring the spider web up into my chin area, but we might have a little bit of it in my neck. And again, we'll probably bring it more into my hand as well. Neither Terry or I had any idea how long this would take. I expected anywhere from 2 to 5 hours. I didn't really know what we were getting into, so I planned for get less done, not more. We could have probably done everything today very easily. Well, we definitely could have, but we don't do a lot of strictly line work stuff, so I didn't know how long it would take. But yeah, I don't mind because another session on it gives me some more time to think about what I really want to do in here. I've got some photo references of ideas I have, but so far nothing completely solid comes to mind. I don't want to just do spiderweb in there, so we'll make more of the area than that. But by the time this video goes up, I want you to know I'll have already done it, so there's no need to try and talk me out of it. It's going to happen. Anyway, we used a 7 liner for this, whereas the lines of the roses and the lines of the thorns, they were done in a 7 mag. So I wanted them to be distinctly thinner than the lines used for the roses and the thorns, and that way they're a different texture. But I think they distract from some of the inconsistency in the red too. There were still some spots that even after 3 passes, though they were super smooth, you could see some of the black stripping through, and that's not the passage of time. That was the way it was from day one when you're covering solid black with red and these big huge surfaces. There's going to be a little bit of black stripping through there, but having that broken up spider web there, it kind of draws the eye away from it. So we got some really cool effects in here, and though I know this won't be for everyone, it is for me. My original idea for this, my mindset on it was like, do I want to make it brighter or do I want to make it darker? And I went with darker because the red and the white roses, it's already got a lot of light source, and I feel like if we had done a brighter color in here, it's already too bright or bright enough. I don't really want to make that problem stand out more, so needed to find a way to get some more black in here. And now we've done a thing where people think all the time, oh, he's working on his 3rd bodysuit, whatever they want to call it. This is clearly a 4th layer. This is now a sleeve covered in black, covered in red, covered in black. So even for the most unobservant, this is the fourth layer on this sleeve. Now, we all know that every part of this rose sleeve was passed 3 times, and my arms were blacked out multiple times, and my first sleeve was full of multiple reworks to begin with. So even though it's the 4th layer, that doesn't speak volumes to the amount of work that's been done in that area. Parts of my arms have literally been tattooed over 20 times. For example, this black alone has been done 3 or 4 times that Rick just did, and that's on top of layers and layers of black and old color tattoos. So it doesn't necessarily always work out so clearly how many layers I have. I did have the idea before I did the spider webs, say earlier this year, mid 2023, because this will be going up in 2024. I also had the idea of doing some bright red paint splashes instead of spider web, but again, I decided to go with a darker motif rather than a lighter motif, so the rest is history. I still think that could have been a cool touch, but I'm glad I went with the spider webs, and I really like them. So of course it's always hard to show off a sleeve, but I'll get this up here, and next time I'm talking to you guys, I'll be talking about this section of this arm. So but yeah, this week both sleeves got some love. I'm really happy with this. Hopefully you guys don't hate it too much. I got lynched over my fucking eyelid tattoos. Hopefully this isn't another one of those, but you never know. In either case, I'll be well past it by the time this airs. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.